Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. The time is now 2 o'clock. It is Monday, August 10th. I'm calling the monthly meeting of the Hawaii State LGBTQ Plus Commission meeting to order. And so to get us grounded and started, I'm going to read the purpose for the commission. The legislature finds that there is a need to establish a body to improve the state and interface with members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer plus community, identify the short and long range needs of its members, and ensure that there is an effective means of researching, planning, and advocating for the equity of this population in all aspects of state government. Accordingly, the purpose of this chapter is to establish a commission to provide or statewide program on a permanent and continuing basis on the status of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer plus individuals in Hawaii. With that, I'm going to start calling roll. And reminder in the chat is that if you do want to speak and you are a guest here, you do need to raise your hand and you'll be called upon when we get to that. And so with roll call, Chair Michael Williams Jr. here, First Vice Chair Chandra Brack. I know how. Here, Secretary Sandy Arjo Livingston.
Here, no one's in here with me.
Thank you. Finance Director and Vice Chair of KP and Healthcare, Sylvia Roth.
Here and alone in the room.
Okay. Vice Chair of Education, Chrissy Doyle. Here. Philip Steinbach. Steinbach. Seeing him. Oh, he's here? He's here? Oh, I gotta make you go. Sorry. Didn't see it. Philip is okay. There you go. You can now unmute yourself. You're now a co-host. He does that. Joe Tobel.
Here alone.
Thank you, Joe. And Philip, can we get confirmation, verbal confirmation that you're alone in the room? You now have the ability to unmute yourself. I've tried to unmute yourself. I've given you the ability to unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I'm alone in a hotel room in New York City by myself. I will try to stay awake until 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay. Representing the Superintendent of Education, Beth Schimmelfeger. Beth is not here yet. Representing the President of the University of Hawaii Systems, Dr. Kevin Remoto. Not here. Representing the Director of Labor and Industrial Relations, David Rodriguez. Present. Representing the Director of Human Resources Development, Signe Nakamura Dureza.
I'm here and alone in the room.
Thank you, Signe. Good to see you. Representing the Director of Human Services, John Kimura.
Hello, everyone. I'm here and alone in.
Thank you. And representing the Director of Health, Thaddeus Fan. Oh, Tim McCormick, hold on a second.
Hi, this is Tim McCormick in place of Thaddeus Pham, representing Director of Health, Dr. Kenny Fink.
Well,
and I'm alone in the room.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Staff, Kenny, sorry. And the Deputy Attorney Generals. We have our Deputy Attorney General, Karen, with us today. She's Oh, I didn't make you. Oh, sorry. I see what I did. Oh, there we go. Aaron, sorry about that.
No problem. I'm here.
Okay. Are you alone in your room?
Yeah, but I'm not participating in that way. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. Just checking. Okay, so up first is approval of board minutes from prior meetings. Per the direction of our esteemed Deputy Attorney Generals, we need to go through and approve the minutes from January 5th. So can I get a motion to approve the January 5th meeting minutes?
So moved. I make a
Moved by
motion.
What was that?
Sandy.
Sandy seconds. Discussion. Is there any changes, alterations to the minutes as circulated? Going once, going twice. Any public testimony on this motion to approve the minutes from January 5th, 2026? Seeing none. Okay, any opposition to the minutes or passing the minutes? Any abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. April, can I get a motion to approve April 13th, 2026 minutes?
Make a motion.
Okay, motion by Sandy, seconded by Shonda. We'll switch it up there. Tess, any amendments to the minutes for April 13th? Any testimony for on passing the April 13th minutes as circulated? Seeing none. Okay, any opposition to the motion before us to pass the April 13th minutes as circulated? Any abstentions? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Okay, can I get a motion to pass the May 11th minutes? Third places.
So moved, but actually, I have a question. February and March are gonna come later? Or are we?
We're gonna work on those later.
Okay.
So, motion by Shonda. Can I get
A second.
Sandy seconds. Any changes or alterations or amendments needed to those minutes? Okay. Any public testimony? Okay, seeing none. Any no votes? Any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, motion passes by unanimous consent. Okay, moving on to June 1st. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion.
Chrissy moves, Sandy seconds. Any changes or amendments to the June 1st minutes? Okay, seeing none. Any public testimony on this motion to pass the June 1st minutes? Okay, now on to the vote. Any no votes? Any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to July 13th minutes. Can I get a motion to pass? So moved. Chrissy moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Shonda. Any testimony, any amendments, corrections, deletions? Okay, seeing none, public testimony on the motion before us to pass the July 13th minutes as circulated. Seeing none, any no votes? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Any public testimony one last time, going over what we just did? Okay, and a reminder that for the public, if you wish to testify on any motion and anything that comes up before, just to raise your hand or try to get my attention by waving your hands if you can't find the raise hand feature. Okay. We're moving on to item number 3 on our agenda, public comment. Now this is public testimony on any item relevant to this agenda may take it up this time, or the testifier may wait till the agenda is brought up. And we received, I'm gonna save that for the chair's report. The one thing that we did get And I'll be put into the chat at that time. It's not really testimony. So, public testimony going once. Going twice. Oh, here we go. Isis.
Hello. Oh, here, let me turn on my video real quick so y'all can see me. Hello. I have messaged a couple people about this, but just wanted to put the name of Denise Foster into the room. She was a trans woman who was just killed in Halava by another incarcerated person who had murdered another cellmate previously in Sagaro. So I'm considering just trying to, of course, honor her as a person, but also connect it to the broader need for decarceration and just criminal reform measures in general. So if anybody's interested in that, please let me know. And if the commission is interested in adding their support to any of those reforms, we can have further discussions. Just let me know what would be appropriate. But yeah, just wanted to say justice for Denise Foster. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you so much. If you're still here, I would encourage you to bring up something when we get to, when we go to establish our legislative priorities. Will we be able to bring something up there in general? Okay. Great. Any other public testimony at this time? Okay. Seeing none, instead of a presentation this month, you'll see that we've added to the agenda for a chance to, we have 2 new commissioners on board, and so for a way to get to know the community, get to know us. I put 3 prompts into the agenda, and so we're gonna go do that instead of a presentation. So I'm gonna read the first prompt, and whichever commissioner wants to go first, again, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I highly encourage everyone to at least say something for each prompt. So this is a chance for you to get to know your fellow commissioners as well as the public that we serve. Get to know you. So up first is, what does each commissioner hope to get out of being a commissioner? Joe, go first. Go for it.
I'd like to have our community here on Maui know, for the kids in school, that there's a safe place for them to come to, as well as be themselves, who they are, and that it's okay to be gay, a lesbian, trans. You know, it's a new world for them. It's their lives that's they're here to be part of. So to try to be out and open and active in our community.
Thank you, Joe. Sylvia.
So I'm one of the new commissioners. So my name is Dr. Sylvia Ram. I come to the commission with the background both personally of working in and with the LGBTQ community, and also within my pediatrics practice. I wanted to join the commission to help keep all people in the community safe and healthy, but very specifically, I work with the keiki around feeling supported and safe in their homes or community schools and having access to appropriate healthcare.
Thank you. Does anybody in the room want to go next?
Yeah, I hope to, being on the commission, I hope to hear all voices. A place where people can come and we can have civil discourse about what's going on in our community and be more informed and learn. As an educator, I'm always about being a lifelong learner. And that's why I especially am really motivated to provide a safe space and a sense of belonging for our community, but especially for our transgender community.
I'm Shannon Bragg. I use she, her pronouns. I am a nurse practitioner. I do primary care and I do gender affirming care. And so my goal in joining the commission was to provide an evidence base for not only us, but anyone on the legislature or other organizations that might be interested in facts and information to help guide policy or legislation. It is my goal to find other organizations to partner with in any way possible to improve the lives of our queer folks here in the state and larger community.
Thank you. Phil, you want to go next?
Yeah, I have some notes, so I am kind of reading those. But I am the commissioner from Kauai, Aloha. I hope to use my experience and perspective to make meaningful contributions to the LGBTQ plus community in Hawaii and on Kauai, specifically to learn from my fellow commissioners and the people that we serve. I have my perspectives as a cis gay male, but I think there's a lot I could learn about our diverse community. And then also, I hope to help shape positive decisions and contribute to initiatives that would have a lasting impact.
Thank you, Phil. Sandy, do you want to go?
Yeah. So for me, what I wanted to get with the commission is helping our community become more engaged with the legislation, helping them to understand that there is a hub where they can get information. There is a hub where they can lodge complaints or find out how to get those complaints taken care of. But overall, just making sure that our community at large has more access and a more clear or a clearer understanding of how to get access to legislation.
Thank you. Tim.
Once again, Tim McCormick on behalf of Dr. Kenny Fink, Director of Health. The Department of Health works to ensure health for all people of Hawaii, and segments of the LGBT community face significant health disparities. And the Department of Health recognizes marginalization of people based on sexual orientation and gender identity as a public health issue. So participation in the commission helps DOH efforts in this area. Thanks.
Do any of the other ex officio members would like to say anything at this time? Okay, I guess I'll go last. Michael Gloria Jr., he, him pronouns. One of the reasons I wanted to be a commissioner, and one of the reasons that I advocated for the establishment of this commission is that we needed to have a constant voice for our community in state government. This was before we're seeing the attacks we saw at the coming from the continent. I saw the good work that was happening with the Commission on the Status of Women, and then the Youth Commission came around. But the reason I wanted to become a commissioner is to help provide a solid base to start off this commission and keep it going for generations to come. Because the fight for civil rights is not a one-time deal, one and done. It's an ongoing struggle, as we have unfortunately seen in the last 18 months on a daily basis. That being able to, what I hope to be getting out of being a commissioner is I hope to be able to pass along the knowledge that I've gained on to the next generation, and hopefully encourage others to get involved within state government, be it at the legislature or with the different other, because there are 170 other commissions out there that you can have your voices heard through that will help address the needs of our community, and hopefully remind people of those. So, okay. What is up next? What are each commissioner's expectations of their fellow commissioners?
Can you repeat that again, please?
What are each commissioner's expectations for their fellow commissioners?
Okay. My expectations of us are different from when I joined, because I had no idea what any of us were going to do, and I had no expectations. But now I have expectations that people are going to speak up and share freely and participate in discussion so that we can come to consensus, rather than, I feel like sometimes it's easy to just accept status quo within this commission or without. So I'm hoping we can have more lively discussion when an issue is brought up. Yeah, so my expectations that I try to include everyone, especially those that are not here, especially those that are not typically, that don't typically have a voice in our state, folks that are maybe less comfortable showing up. And I've heard a lot of us do that, so I'm not saying that this is a change from what I see anybody doing, but I would like us to especially consider folks that have a harder time advocating for themselves or being heard within the larger community.
Who wants to go next?
I don't know.
Okay,
I think, for me, my expectations for our fellow commissioners would be to come all first, to listen first, to all perspectives and understand that, everybody's perspective is welcome here. We're not always gonna disagree. I understand that, having worked with commissions in the past, and anytime you have a broad discourse, you're never gonna completely disagree on everything. But we can do it in the spirit of the law. We can, like I said, we can obey each other, can allow each other, and ultimately work as a team to really do what we all came here to do, and that's to serve and support our.
you. Who wants to go next? Go, Joe.
For me, what I want to learn from everybody, we all come from different experiences, backgrounds, different places, and I know, well, most of you I know have gotten your higher education. I never went and got my degree. I went to college for some classes, but I never got the degrees that probably most of you have. So I look to learn what I can from you all being here in this group, and I'm honored to be part of this group. So I didn't know, Michael, you were the one that had a big head in starting this group. So I appreciate what you've done for us.
I think, Sandy, do you want to go?
Yeah, so this is about what we're expecting our fellow commissioners, correct? Okay. So really my biggest expectations are creating a, I guess, a united voice in going to events, going to support different organizations, and ensuring that we are speaking to legislators and making our presence known in the legislature. So really, I guess, collective action and ensuring that we are available and present for the people in our community.
Thank you, Sandy. Philip?
I think I like what I wrote down as I was kind of reflecting on this was professionalism as far as expectations from everyone, that we can remain professional. I wrote respect for one another and our varying perspectives and diverse backgrounds. I think and it's kind of what I said in answer to the first question. I think we're different and there's so many things that we can learn. Just to broaden our own personal understanding, but also to support the work that we're doing. So I think having the willingness to, hear other people and listen to other people and try to understand their perspective. And I also wrote down conscientious participation, just that people are committed to doing whatever it is they can do, and we all have different varying degrees of abilities and capabilities, but that we all add whatever it is that we think is our strength or our whatever our personal abilities are.
Thank you. Sylvia?
Yeah, I think I'm reflecting what Anashanda said. I'm very new. And so I think that, I'm coming in really understanding who everybody is and what we are able to do. And so I'm pretty open right now.
Thank you. Do any of our ex officio members like to say anything? Okay, going once, going twice, sold. For me, my expectations are really they've changed over the course of the 2 years. And right now, my expectations, just to be quite frank, is that ensuring that everybody has read the agenda, has reviewed the board packet, was ready, and is able to come to meetings prepared to have lively discussions. So, so those are the two main things, is that making sure people be able to do what Shonda's talking about, is that to have those and doing and then the third is hopefully everybody will provide something to add to the board packets as we move forward. I'm going to cover this more under the chair's report about the agenda, is that this is a great opportunity in our announcement section to let people know what's going on in your community, so we're well aware. And that if there's something that you want in the board packet, please get it to us, so we're able to have these more full, flushed out conversations when especially if it's something brand new. And I guess the last one is that if we go out into the community, when we engage with our fellow queer members, that we can then bring that information back and let them know what we're doing, because we all represent different facets of our community, and since there's only 8 seats, we're not going to be able to represent every section of our community, because we are such a diverse community that we do need our best. We all need to do our best when we can to let people know that we exist. So those are my expectations for everybody, and myself included. So the third prompt is, what does each commissioner bring to the table? I know some of you sort of answered this in the first one, but if there's anything else you want to add, please. Okay.
As I mentioned in the first one, as a medical provider, I bring an expertise. I did my master's project on transgender health, so I have a lot of information and experience in literature and from a medical aspect. I also spent most of my life being a carer. I worked in mental health. I'm very involved in the service community in this state and elsewhere, so I have that mindset. I have less experience in politics. I'm not somebody that has a lot of legislative expertise, but I do come from a service provider's point of view, and I think that's an asset. And for better or for worse, I'm willing to argue. I am willing to present a differing opinion, and I try to do that with aloha and with respect. But I am willing to challenge things and try for a better way.
Sure. Thank you again. What I bring to the table to this commission is I believe the only transgender individual or woman on this commission. I can bring that lived experience, especially coming out as Chrissy, later in life. I just celebrated my 4th anniversary of my coming out recently, and there's a lot of reflection on it for that. Of course, that experience has been a lot more than just 4 years. Experience has been maybe 53 years for them with my life. I'm also an educator that brings 30 years of experience with that. I manage a federal grant, a master's in curriculum and instruction. And I like talking about our community with our department members when the opportunity arises, and really as a whole picture of supporting all students, because I believe that in supporting our LGBTQ community, it's not just our LGBTQ Hawana, it's all students, and to inform all of them on how they can be formed, how they can be allies, how they can be supported as well. And then of course being Kanaka I don't pretend to be an expert on being Kanaka Maoli, but I can share some lived experiences and practices that I do. Hopefully bring that to the table for our commission. Lastly, I do a lot of public speaking. I speak nationally on leadership and issues in education, as well as locally. We just keynoted Kamokapule SPED Summit for their teachers to open the year, and we talked about a sense of belonging for both staff and students. And those are really big passions of mine that I practice and employ outside of this commission. So hopefully I can bring a lot to the table, and hopefully I can I'll learn a lot from everybody here.
Who's next? Anybody? Sandy.
All right. Wow. Well, honestly, the biggest thing I bring to this commission is my passion for ensuring this community is protected, my passion to ensure that this community does not turn into communities like where I grew up, where the laws are ensuring that people do not have the right to be themselves, and the laws there that are ensuring that people don't have the freedom to access anything, whether it is access to medication or things like that. So my passion for ensuring that we don't end up like that we see the patterns before they're able to lock in, and that we're able to conquer those and ensure that we keep our freedoms out here. We keep our special place in this world where we're able to access the things that we need to access. Lots of education background, teaching at universities, things like that, journalism, filmmaking, all of those obviously play a big role in that. But really, I think my greatest attribute for this particular commission is my passion.
Yeah, I see your hand raised.
Thanks. So we bring decades of experience serving various parts of the LGBT community, including by engaging members of the community on the planning and implementation of services. And our objective in serving on the commission is to bring a public health perspective to issues before the commission. Thanks.
You. Philip?
Professionally, I feel like I bring a long history of, I was an educator for a long time. And so a long history of working with students and families, and specifically sponsoring both student LGBTQ plus support groups and queer teacher organizations. So that's kind of professional. Aside from that, I feel like I hope to bring a thoughtful perspective, open-mindedness, a willingness to listen, ask questions, and try to figure things out, in a thoughtful way. And I hope to bring the ability to see things from different points of view, and help us all achieve, making thoughtful decisions and that will end up having a positive impact.
Thank you, Philip. Joe?
First of all, it rained here last night, and it's hot and humid. The sun is out. So I don't know if anybody knows, but my eyes are starting to burn. I guess maybe the pollen every now and then. I'm allergic, so it starts stinging, and I start tearing and sometimes cry because of all of that in my eyes. So just to let you know that for me, I lived in San Francisco for 18 years before moving back here, from here originally, and I learned a lot of things there, and have the history here, which I'll share a little bit in a little while, I guess, after we go through all of this. Also bringing from San Francisco, as well as being part of the community on Oahu as well as here, that I hopefully to share and see what more I can do in my old age of 75. So a few more years here before it's my time, but what else I can do, we can see.
Thank you, Joe. Sylvia, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think I pretty much covered it in my first answer, from my lived in professional experience.
Thank you. Any of the other ex officio members? Yes, Sigrid.
Thanks. So just as designee for the Department of Human Resources Development, I can provide assistance in any issues relating to state government employment. So, recruitment, any other employment issues. Any questions that come up in that regard, I can get answers from the right DHERD offices. And so in that way, I just hope to bring a supportive presence and listen with an open mind and willingness to learn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other ex officio members? Okay, go once.
Yeah, hi, John
sorry,
Kimura here
John?
from the Department of Human Services. Yeah, we're here to support any way we can. Of course, we have Hanny helping you folks already, which is great. Also, the Department of Human Services has 4 divisions: MedQuest, the Benefits Division, which provides SNAP and other financial resources, as well as the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. So, and we also can't forget the Social Services Division, which covers the Adult Protective Services as well as the Child Welfare Services. Thank you.
Anybody else going once? Yes. Good. Okay, what do I bring? Well, I'm coming up on my 26th year of being a civil rights activist here in the state of Hawaii. I am a St. Louis grad. I'm also a military brat, so I bring with me, with all those years of experience and living all over the world, but growing up on the west side of the Leeward Coast, I'm also an alumni of Makalani Elementary School. So having a very different and diverse background when it comes to that, and with my activism, I spent 4 years in the director's office at DHERD under the Abercrombie administration, and then I spent time at ERS under the EGAY administration for some time. So I have fortunately, a wide range of knowledge when it comes to state government, both from the legislature as well as the administrative side. But my daytime job now is a consultant. I do political consulting as well as event consulting. Many moons ago, I oversaw the transformation when the Honolulu Marathon went from poolside to the convention center for their expo. So I have a broad range of knowledge as well as different pockets of people that I know out there. So I hope to be able to use those different things to help move things, help with this commission as we move forward into as we move forward. So, anybody else? Okay, I do want to thank you all for participating in that. Hopefully, next month we're going to go back to our regular programming of having a presenter. And so moving right along into the agenda, we're under number 5, the chair's report. Okay, as you can tell, as you saw, I reorganized the agenda. I wanted to let you all know. I tried to have a conversation with each of the different commissioners to let them know this was happening. The reason, but now for the general public, the reason I did this was to put all the action items at the beginning of the agenda. Because going back and watching some of our other meetings, sometimes it felt like there was just one person or 2 people talking the entire time. And so I wanted to make sure put this more of a community forward as well as the action items forward. So we got through that. And first, on that note, you all should have noticed that you've gotten Google invites, calendar invites for the commissioners for adding items. You've got the deadlines for adding items to the agenda. So it will automatically come up on your Google calendars from here on out for the next year. And the deadline as well as the deadline for the board packets. Just so everybody understands that, the agendas we're trying to put up on that Friday before the deadline to give everybody an opportunity to review that. Should something come up though over the weekend or by Monday, we can always amend the agenda, but we cannot amend the agenda and add anything to it after the deadline of 2 p.m. on that Tuesday before the meeting. Except in extreme cases where we can get 2/3 vote and it has to be time sensitive to meet the sunshine laws. board packets. The deadline for that, those things is the Tuesday before the board meeting. That's to give Hanny enough time on Wednesday mornings to assemble the board packet and get it posted. Here with the board packets, nothing can be added to the board packet after the 2 p.m. deadline on that Wednesday, just to make sure everybody's well aware of that. And that's the reason we created the Google Calendar alerts. I created the Google Calendar alert, so nobody forgets. I do want to let you know that I did attend the ACLU 250 event that happened. When I announced it last month, I didn't know they were going to invite people to be there, so it was sort of a last minute thing. I did go there. It was a mini tabling event. I took some of the fans and stickers and met some people and talked about this stuff, talked about the commission. So that happened. And the last thing I have on this is, for those of you that haven't seen or cannot see, I have my friend of mine made me this polo with our logo on it, and I just wanted to take. This is not a vote. I just want to see if we were before I go out and do all the work of trying to see finding a vendor and whatnot. If we had logo polos made for everybody, would you be interested in, and would you wear it? One yes, with 2 yeses. Shake your head up and down or no side to side, since this isn't really a vote. Philip is Sylvia's no. Philip's Kawazi. Joe, would you wear a polo with our logo on it?
A polo, would it be the same colors as the decal itself, or a certain color and then that alone?
Well, we don't know colors. That's good. That's for a different discussion. I just need to know: are you open to wearing polos with our logo on them?
I am.
Well, I'm open to wearing it, like if it's a group decision, but I would not generally wear a polo.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go with her answer. I'm open, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Sandy.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm not intending to wear this to work or anything. I would wear this like when we go to Kona. I would wear this at commission events.
Yeah, I don't wear this on a daily basis, just so everybody knows. And the one thing I forgot. Okay, so we will start looking into that, and that will be an agenda item for next month. Because I didn't want to go put the work into it if nobody was going to do it. I'll wear it, and so. Okay, but what I should have started off with the chair's report, I apologize. Yesterday, late afternoon, I received Christopher Luffy's resignation from the commission. So I had alerted the governor's office. Shonda and I talked earlier today. In the chat, you will find a statement that he gave to us to release. So unfortunately, Christopher has had to step down, and we do want to take this opportunity. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Christopher for stepping up. As we all know, it's not easy having to go through that confirmation process. And so we will now begin the task of reaching out to Hawaii County yet again to find people to apply. And for anybody on this call or watching the video, if you want to apply, it requires you to fill out the application online. You will need to provide a resume and a cover letter, and provide 3 references. And that's the boards and commissions. And so I will be putting up a graphic later today or this evening, announcing that vacancy. So I know in my conversations with Christopher, he was really concerned about our response, and I told him, you do need to take care of yourself and your family. That comes first. And I did thank him for his service to us. And I told him, I believe that we all would understand that when somebody needs to step away, but for whatever reason, we're not going to hold it against him. That was his. So, and I apologize for not having anything in the board packet for the chair's report, but given the season we're in, time got away from me. Yes, Joe.
I just have a question, Michael. For now, the Big Island, since it's no longer Christopher, would we still be looking for somebody just for Kona or just Hilo or any of those 2 places? It doesn't matter.
It's Hawaii. It's Hawaii County. Okay. All of Hawaii County. So it's not area specific.
Thank you.
Okay. So, okay, moving on to finance director.
Great. So this is my first report here. So Sylvia Ram, Finance Director. Since it's a new fiscal year and there haven't been any purchases made using the LGBTQ funds yet, there isn't a worksheet to present at this time. The Department of Budget and Finance has not finalized the full year budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. We can use last year's 20,000 budget as a reference for now. Last year, the commission was able to use up to 90% of the allotted budget, which was $18,000. Once we receive the finalized budget and allotment for this fiscal year, we'll have a better idea of the amount available to spend.
Well, I do have one correction. We
Okay.
have expended 170, I've expended 177.91 for their Zoom. So that's the only thing that has been expended. Annie's working on getting my reimbursement. So
Okay.
that was approved last month. So yeah, but you're right. So yeah, other than that, yes. So thank you.
Thanks.
So thank you for your wonderful report.
I was standing on the shoulders of giants.
We've received no official communications from state officials, so moving on. Any public testimony about the reports you just heard? Okay, going once, going twice, sold. Moving right along. Okay, first up, action items. Commission officer elections for the 2026-2027 year. This is first is additional vice chairs that are issue specific. Did Philip or Joe want to self-nominate for an area that they would like to be in charge of? Okay, seeing none, and so moving right along. Any public testimony on the non-election? Seeing none, moving right along. Okay, update on the next Rainbow Pauhana Queer Leaders Gathering. Between last month and this month, I've been approached by Pride at Work Hawaii. They've offered to do the next host the next one that will be in September, the week of Labor Day week. They are working on a location, so that's going to be covered for this quarter. I'm going to open up nominations for lead on coordinating the Rainbow Pauhanas moving forward. Anybody like to self-nominate or nominate their fellow commissioner or to help lead that effort? Seeing no nominations for that, okay. Then for the time being, I will oversee that until somebody else comes forward. Any public testimony? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Okay, we are now looking at establishing the Commissioner's 2027 legislative priorities. For your information, there was the our 2027 legislative questionnaire executive summary, as well as the legislative tracker from this year. And then I included in the board packet just so we could see our rankings to give us any ideas on things. So up first is to expand gender markers on birth certificates from M and F to M, F, and X to match driver's licenses and state ID cards. Can I get is there a motion to make that one of the priorities for 2027?
I motion that we do.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Sandy. Discussion.
I hear that the community wants this, and I would like to respect the community, and I have concerns also. I have some concerns about how this will create additional barriers for people who do this. So I don't know how to share information for folks, because I've had a couple friends that have ex-gender markers that are really having a lot of trouble with international travel and even state travel. So I want people to have the opportunity, but I want part of it to be, I want to make sure that people understand. I talk to people sometimes that live here and grew up here and have no idea what it would be like if they were to leave here. And I just want full disclosure for folks.
Anybody else before I speak? Again, yes, this is a priority coming from the community. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it put into the parental updating parental rights package that we passed last year. Because having people you're going to want to have your birth certificate match your driver's license, so you have a continuity in your documentation for as they move forward. And also when they go, we won't always be under this totalitarian regime we see out of the federal government. And so we need to look to a better and brighter future that this will help people make sure that all their documentation match. Like we did amend, we went back and we amended for birth certificates. I'm sorry, marriage certificates, updating marriage certificates for those that transitioned after marriage, so they could go and update their marriage licenses. So because that needs to all match, or should match when you go to get a loan, do a mortgage, those wonderful things. So I do support this, and hopefully everybody will vote yes on this, and we can move forward, because but when it comes to implementation, that is where it becomes with an educational piece behind that. The people need to have the options, but they also need to know the realities that they may be facing if they choose to go and do that. But how often do you use your birth certificate? Not that often, but when you do want it to match your government issued items. So, any public testimony on the motion before us, which is going once, going twice, sold. Okay. Is there any opposition to the motion to making expanding gender markers from F to M to F, M, and X?
Sorry, Chair, did you ask for public testimony?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any opposition to the motion before us? Any abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Okay, up next, and just so you know, everything in the agenda right now is for the first major portion of it is things that have been a priority. Now, I guess I should have prefaced this. I do not expect, I have no expectations when it comes to if all these are going to be priorities or not. Just because it was a priority before does not mean we have to make it a priority for 2027. Let me preface that as we move forward. Number 2 is require a more accurate and comprehensive count of hate crimes in Hawaii. Currently, data is only guaranteed to be captured in limited circumstances when the perpetrator is identified, the case proceeds to trial, and the court applies existing hate crime sentencing enhancements. This approach significantly undercounts the true scope of hate-motivated incidents. So is there a motion to require a more accurate and comprehensive count of hate crimes in Hawaii?
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Shonda, seconded by Chrissy. Discussion. The only thing is that, okay, let's say that anybody else want to speak on this before I do? Seeing none. We actually have we're ranked number 3 when it comes to safety in the state of Hawaii, but that's because we do not have accurate counts of hate crimes. So I think it does a disservice to our community because we don't because we all know that there's other things happening out there, and it also does a disservice since tourism is one of our number one economic drivers, people thinking that there is no violence here. And there is, and it biased violence. So, and we just have to be honest about that. I do encourage this, and hopefully we can see, and the nice thing about this one, yeah, so, yeah, anyways. Public testimony on the motion before us. Seeing none. Okay, any opposition? Any no vote? Any abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay. Number 3 is expand the Hawaii State LGBT Commission from 8 voting members to 11 members, with the first additional spot reserved for a person under the age of 29. 1 member appointed by the Senate President and the other by the Speaker of the House. Is there a motion to make this a priority? Moved by Shonda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sandy. Discussion.
I also have a question. Member to be appointed by the Senate and the Speaker, what's our goal there?
To provide a diversity of opinion. And the reason that came out of, because the Youth Commission, for them, they have members appointed by the Speaker, members appointed by the Senate President, and members appointed by the Governor as well. So following that sort of blueprint, and to give at least some difference of, because how this iteration of this priority is that some people feel that maybe the governor is only going to pick people that think along his lines, which we all know that's not true, but we got to look at the outputs. And so that is where we're at with this. So, because originally, for those of you that, when this first was brought up, is that we were going to, one of the iterations of this priority was dividing Hawaii County into 2, one from Hilo side, one from Kona side, as well as ensuring that there was a spot always on the commission for gender expansive, the trans community gender expansive, as well as a youth voice. That got some pushback from the transgender community, thinking it was tokenism. And it's only tokenism if that's what this commission makes it. And hopefully nobody feels, and nobody here should be, we all come with different perspectives, and hopefully everybody has the same voice, access to the same voice, and having their voices heard. So that's the reason. So it's now morphed to this, just so everybody has the background. So, any other discussion on this one?
I think what I'm wondering is beyond adding or increasing diversity, what else do we accomplish by having 11 members? Because I'm wondering, I'm fine with that. I just more want to hear other people's perspectives in terms of, will it potentially hinder us to come to be not productive, but there's too many people. Does it possibly become too many people in which it becomes a barrier for us to operate effectively? And I'm not wording that exactly right, but I think you guys understand.
Well, it goes also, because it does change our quorum requirement. So quorum requirements go up by 1. So we're right now we're required to have 5 members present to do business. This will require us to go to 6. It is odd that it's odd that we have an even number of members.
True.
So to go through all this work to add 1 member, and there's been a lot of interest in this commission, especially from Hawaii County, but that aside, but that does not mean that there's not. I think it's part of it's also doing more outreach to Hawaii County. and period. So giving other people opportunities. Yeah, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
The advantage I see is a lot of times there's things that we want done that we don't have bodies. Like we don't have couple chairs, we don't have a leader because there's not really enough of us to do all the work, so extra bodies would help. And technically, we don't actually have a hard time reaching consensus.
Anything else from the commissioners? I'm gonna open up to public testimony. Any public testimony on the motion before us? Once or twice? Sold. Okay. The motion before us is expand the Hawaii State LGBT Commission from 8 voting members to 11 members as detailed earlier. Any opposition to the motion before us? Any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, motion passes as presented. Okay, for notification, we lost Sandy at sometime over a minute ago. I don't know when she got out, but just for the minutes, we lost Sandy. So Sandy was not present for that. Okay. Number 4, ensure the Mahu LGBTQIA plus, QT Pi plus, and MVPFAFF plus communities have access to mental health care on all islands. I.e., so that's where the motion, that is the priority, and the rest of that is different ways of different avenues of making that happen. So this is more of a broader based priority than we've had in the past. Do I have a motion to support them? Okay. No motion. Okay, that is not a priority for 2027. Number 5, banning forced gender mutilation surgeries for intersex minors. Moved by Shonda. Do I have a second? I will second now. Okay. Sylvia, second. Discussion.
I was the lead on this a couple of years ago, and I feel very strongly that intersex babies should not be subjected to unwanted surgeries that are not medically necessary. And we had some pushback, so this may not be an easy priority. However, it's medically important. The intersex community consistently pushes against surgeries for babies. If they want to have that surgery when they get older, they can. Although I would argue when they get older, if they want to do it, then they might have trouble because they might think that they're trans and want to refuse that surgery. So that's an irony. But this is medically important as well as important to that community.
We'll notice the minutes, Sandy's back with us. Any further, any other discussion on this motion? Yes, Joe.
I just think it's again about choice. A little baby can't make that choice for that decision. So I think it should be later when they're a lot older to take all of that in and then decide for themselves if they should do it or not. Is where I'm coming from on that.
I know we're not supposed. Any other further discussion before I speak? Okay, I do support this wholeheartedly. I encourage anybody who doesn't understand or is unfamiliar with the intersex community. There's a great documentary out there called Every Body. It's 2 separate words. I believe it's on Prime. To streaming that it shows you three different intersex members One, I had the opportunity of meeting at the Victory Fund conference I went to back in December of 2024. So anyway, so yeah, and I encourage you, it's a great, it gives you, it takes you in a snapshot of that. And the horrible things that the horror stories you hear from the intersex community, just so everybody understands what they're talking about here. It's what they do is they go and they do forced sterilization on an infant and scoop out the reproductive organs. And yeah, it's absolutely abhorrent. There. Any discussion, any testimony from the public on this motion?
And speaking of which, if anyone in the community that has lived experience would like to provide information to me in a way that does not have to be sunshine disclosed, you are welcome to get my phone number from someone. Everybody has my phone number and call me.
And I just want to speak. I don't have a ton of experience being there at the birth of babies who are intersex, but I have some. And it can be a confusing time for parents. And so I think in a way, this actually helps parents take a breath. I know we talk about mutilation. Many parents don't feel like that's what they're doing to their baby because they've never had to think about it before. And so, really, this is just allowing people to say everything is safe. Let's take a quick breath so you can understand what it means to be the parent of an intersex baby, of an intersex person, and give them the chance to educate themselves and understand.
And again, yeah, it's more informed consent for that baby, for that person. Yes, Phil.
This is just a question. I've never thought about this before. So now, like modern, maybe this is a question for Sylvia or for Shanda or anybody who knows. Are medical professionals able to assess an intersex child before they're born, since there's like ultrasound and all that kind, like it just occurred to me, like I was thinking, oh, at the moment of birth, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? But can those things be determined early, or, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. It's just like it just popped into my head. How at what point would, I think Sylvia's saying, it's confusing for parents. Like, are they having time to prepare for it, or what could somebody tell me about that?
So I don't want to answer incorrectly, so I would do a quick search for current data. I just want to make sure that things change pretty rapidly.
Right.
And I haven't done delivery room in 5 years now, and so I'd want to know what the current statistics are. But it is not 100%, or at least it wasn't.
Right. Thank you.
But on that note, just to how. For the basic, so everybody understands how many, we really don't have a direct counter. We don't have any really good data when it comes to the intersex community because of the shame, and some people will go their entire lives not knowing they're intersex because of one thing or another. But the going ideology out there is that there's as many intersex people out there in the world as there are redheads, to give you a visualization. So it's as common as redheads being intersex, and that we making sure that we make sure the eye is not silent in LGBT.
Yeah, and some babies when they're born, they need surgery. They medically need surgery to correct a problem. For example, they cannot shishi, they don't have a patent urethra. So that is a surgery that must be done. But a surgery, what we're talking about here is the baby has genitals that it's not clear whether they're ultimately, when they hit puberty, it's not clear if that they're going to look male or they're going to look female. It may not be obvious what internal organs they have, and that can be awkward for a parent. And traditionally in medicine, the doctor has said, here, what you need to do is you need to fix this and you need to make this a girl. and we're gonna make this baby a girl, or we're gonna, they less often make it a boy. And that treats the doctor, or it treats the parents' anxiety about not knowing what to tell their friends. Oh, I don't know whether this is a boy or a girl, but this is my fabulous baby that I love. That makes people feel uncomfortable. So instead, we're just gonna make her a girl with this unnecessary surgery. And what if she's not a girl? What if she's a boy? And then she grows up her whole life knowing that she's male, because gender is not based on whatever genitals you have after surgery, after birth, right? Mhm. So this, of course, would not preclude any surgery that is actually medically necessary.
Right.
And I just
just
quickly did a study. So it's about 5 to 10% can be identified before birth, even currently.
Oh. Okay.
I just want to go on. My question wasn't in any opposition. It was just a curiosity. It's like kind of occurred to me, like, oh, modern science. But and to Michael's point about like sometimes we don't know. I was born with one kidney, and nobody knew until I was 18, and I had some health concerns. And then they found out, and I was mortified, like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And the doctor said, you know, lots and lots of people are born with one kidney. And ironically, my doctor had 3 kidneys. So you don't know till you know.
Any other commissioners before I go to the public? Okay, seeing none, public testimony. Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Okay, any opposition to the motion? Which for those of you just joined us is banning forced gender mutilation surgeries for intersex minors. And no opposition, see no opposition, any abstentions? Seeing no abstentions and with Sandy back with us, that is a unanimous passage unanimously. Okay. Number 6, establish an education requirement of teaching Mahu, LGBTQIA, Cutie Pie, and MVPFAFF plus history, achievements and contributions in public schools K through 12 and the University of Hawaii systems. Can I get a motion for that? I get a motion for that. Motion by Chrissy. Do I have a second? Seconded by Shonda. Discussion.
How does this, I was gonna ask you, how this would affect the Department of Education in the current environment? It would create conflict. What's that look like too?
It depends, like, if you are, first of all, like, this ties into a lot of the social, to me, it ties into a lot of the social emotional curriculum that we have. There's also Hawaiian history, or Hawaiian is taught out at 4th grade, and I believe it's 8, and then there's Hawaiian history at 9, I believe it was. It's 9, I have to double check. If the state decides the current trend in education is to give autonomy back to the states, we just simply wouldn't be allowed to use federal funds. Managing a federal grant right now, anything DEI, we just be very clear about. So as long as it's state initiative and something the department is willing to undergo, there's nothing involved with the federal government. For me, I wouldn't see any issue there in terms of that, in terms of being a barrier. But it's also, I think it's also a part of our history. You know, it is. And we teach Hawaiian history, and we teach you know, the HA framework, the HA framework is a huge part of, it's one of superintendent's big 3 issues. And we want to practice it as educators. We want to model it for our students. We want to instill that. Other things he talks about a lot of times is being globally competitive, but also locally committed. This is an example of being locally committed. And also when we're globally competitive, we can bring Hawaii to the world. And this is our shared history, and it's something I think we should be proud of. And students in Hawaii, I think, should be taught about this history. So I could go on and
on. Any other commissioners have any comments? Discussion. Ladies? I don't have anything else to add, but thank you, Kristen. Public testimony. Okay, seeing none. Okay, any opposition to the motion before us? Any abstentions? We see none, motion passes unanimously with all members, 7 members present. Okay, did that one, okay. This one came out of the survey, so this is something, chosen names used in the Department of Education schools. University of Hawaii already has a simple system in place. The chosen name is used in all forms except transcripts, legal, and financial forms. I'm not sure if this needs to be legislative or if it can be done by administrative rules, but we can make it a priority. Is there a motion to do so?
I would think it will do so.
Okay. Can I get a second? Seconded, motion by Chrissy, seconded by Shonda. Discussion.
I do agree with you, Michael, that, you know, I'm seconding this, I'm putting this forward because I think it's worthy of discussion. Where this goes is really the question. But I just want to let you guys know that we've all done this. As a teacher, one of the first things we asked, last week was the first week of school. Michael, are you here, present? Do you have a preferred name? Like, we tell our students this already. And it gives them a huge sense of belonging and identity. You know, even as simple as we have chronic absenteeism. If a student is like, I don't want to go to Miss Doyle's class because she's not calling me by the chosen name, or, you know, and they may not, you know, we just want to work with them. Bullying, and building efficacy with them. These are, again, all I think practices that the department is already employing. But I do think it strengthens that to say, hey, this is important for us to do. So to be totally transparent with you, I don't know where this goes in terms of like the legislative priority, but I do think it's worthy of a further discussion. So to let the department know that, yes, this is good. And the department is doing a pretty good job of this. And I don't know an teacher out there that doesn't do this, but I think it affirms that practice.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is not the, I think the only one,
No.
because it's charter, it's not.
It's not a charter, it's not a charter school, it's a private.
Which I, oh my,
Oh,
yes, my, yeah.
Maui Prep is a private, yes.
Charters would, because they're state entities, that would be interesting, they sort of the commission. If the Board of Education takes this on, then the charters would need to follow, and legislatively as well, but.
Does anybody else want to speak on this before I do? I've seeing none. I think this is a great opportunity for us to also reach out to the Hawaiian community, because for those of us that, what is it? Up until 1971, 72, it's illegal for someone in the state of Hawaii to have anything but a Christian first name on their birth certificate. And so when we arrived here in 81, it was just, people were just starting to, Hawaiians were just starting to start using Hawaiian first names on their birth certificates. But they would still go by a Hawaiian name, even though their given name, their birth name was something else. And so I think, and we see this all across, junior boy versus whatever, using a colloquial name for somebody versus what's on the thing. And they do it for the cisgender straight community all the time. But I think this is an opportunity for us to reach out to the Hawaiian community, making sure that that we can align with this, that this isn't just a queer only issue. And we also see this with our immigrant communities as well. What they're on their birth certificate versus what they choose to use on a day-to-day basis. So this is not just a queer only issue, although it does have great impact on our community. I think this is one of those places where we can build those bridges to a better tomorrow. And no, I'm not running for public office. I've just been writing way too much into this crap. Sorry, excuse my French. Long weekend. Anyway, so any public testimony on this, making this a priority, legislative or otherwise, depending on how we. Okay. Seeing no public testimony, any opposition to the motion? Any abstentions? Noting all seven members present, motion passes unanimous. Okay. Number 8, resolution. Okay. This is a resolution requesting the Legislative Reference Bureau to conduct a study to determine how much it will cost to and timeline of implementing a comprehensive statewide survey of Mahu, LGBTQIA, and QDI populations in Hawaii. Can I get a motion?
I don't understand this.
Okay, so, okay, they would go out and figure out how much it would cost to do a comprehensive, in-depth study into the queer community, health, education, economic statuses, well-being. But we have this, what we don't have in the state of Hawaii is a consistent, reputable source of data when it comes to anything, when it comes to our community. And looking at our rankings, that is one of the things that's missing to take us to the next level, is to help us understand our community better when we have data. When we go to the legislature and they're like, well, what does this mean? Or what is it here in Hawaii? We don't actually have any data. Sometimes we're added, sometimes our community's not. It's done haphazardly at best and inconsistently. And at worst, we're just totally ignored when it comes to a reputable, having a omnibus study of the queer community and making sure that it's done in a ethical and honoring everybody's privacy rights. Because we could do the one-up survey here or there, but finding out exactly what this would cost. And so it's a resolution that, if it would be a concurrent resolution, which needs to be passed by both chambers. The Legislative Reference Bureau would go out, figure out how much that costs, report back to the legislature, and then we know we go forward with a bill. We're seeking that dollar amount that actually get it implemented. That is that is it in a nutshell. Okay, so given that explanation, can I get a motion for this resolution? Okay, I'm gonna make the motion, Chair. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. As somebody who spent the last 26 years with the legislature, I can tell you time and time again, I've been asked, well, what's the local data? What's the local data? We just don't have it. We just don't have it when it comes to our suicide rates. We don't have it when it comes to, we rely on mainland firms that sometimes will come out and do something. I forget the name of them, out of California, the Williamson Institute. But it's, again, having somebody outside of Hawaii doing it versus a local, have it locally, and also this also would take in, the reason that we put Mahu first is taking from a cultural perspective as well. So, because one of the things that I read to us all at the beginning of this is for us to do long and short-term needs of our community. Without this data, we don't know what our long-term needs of our community is. We kind of do, but we don't have the data to back it up. So that is the reason I put this on the agenda. Further discussion.
I do think that there is, again, I'd love to hear what anyone else has to say, but I do believe that there is, the more data that we have, there's holes in it. If we don't have data for our time, topics, or just in the LGBT community as well. I know for transgender community, that's something that we have always wanted to see more data in that area. I think it applies to the community as a whole. So I think anything here to get, Mike was saying, local data here, to use that data to inform our legislators or any other state offices that can be supportive of our community, I think it's a worthwhile expenditure.
And as a healthcare provider and a member of the Department of Health Sexual and Gender Minority Work Group, they do research. I just checked, I want to say the last health information report was 2024. So every few years they put out health data for the sexual and gender minority work group, but we don't have the other stuff. We don't have anything comprehensive, and we get information from the Department of
Oh,
Education.
hello there.
But I know that when approaching different organizations and approaching the legislature, that data that the Department of Health has is invaluable. So we're going to have more data on other avenues. That is always helpful. As Thaddeus says, don't get mad, get data.
And any other further discussion on this motion? Not to throw shade at the Department of Health. In 2017, they issued a LGBT health study. And when I asked them, okay, where's the trans? Oh, there's not enough trans individuals to provide data at that time. Was the response I got back.
They fixed that since.
Yeah, they fixed it. I'm just saying that, but when we look at other things that we need to making sure that I'm just somebody who's been around way too long, and way too many things that we do, and it's not just, we also need to look at economics, not just health, economics. We need to look at education, having a, for lack of a term, an omnibus study on our community that is culturally sensitive and it takes into account the totality of our community. Is what is the idea behind this resolution to get this study done, and it's not. And it won't be just a one and done kind of thing, hopefully. So any other testimony from commissioners or ex officios before we move to the public? Okay, seeing none, ex officios. Sorry, public testimony. Okay, seeing none. Any opposition? Any abstentions to the motion before us? Okay, seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Okay, open discussion. In the board packet, I do want you to see, this was provided to us from one of our members of our one of our supporters, members of the community, about and looking at, as we saw, and I'm not sure how to put this, if there's a motion to be made with this, but I think with the cultural competency training for DOE administrators piece there, I think that could be dovetailed into what we've already passed with regards to education. Maybe, and adding that to that. No, it's not. Which one was it? Okay. Number 6, establishing a gender education requirement teaching, but maybe not. Maybe I'm on the wrong foot of it. That. So I'm going to open the floor. If anybody has any motions they'd like to make. Yes, Sylvia, go ahead.
So I'm learning, so I think this is the right time to bring this up. One of the things that the gender affirming community that I work with has brought up is that Hawaii is an outlier in telehealth. It's the only state that requires a prescriber to be in state to prescribe scheduled medications. And for gender affirming care, that's specifically testosterone. And so that means, for example, we have a close relationship with Stanford. And so some of our kids go to Stanford for care. And if they need to be prescribed testosterone, they can't be prescribed testosterone from their gender affirming care physician, even if they're licensed in Hawaii, because they are physically in California. Conversely, if they have a Hawaii physician who they have established a relationship with, if that physician happens to be out of state, at the time that they need the prescription filled, they can't do it. And so it actually becomes quite a barrier. This was brought forward in the 2021, 2022, and the 23 and 24 sessions. Both died in committee, had support, but just like didn't make it through. And it just continues to be an issue for our kids and our providers.
A little background. Okay, yeah, thank you for bringing that up because it reminds me of Illinois. I believe the governor just signed into law taking testosterone off as Schedule 1. And so it's there's that. Did you want to make a motion?
So I make a motion to make that a legislative priority.
Yep. So that's all you have to do. Just give us a general idea of what you wanted, and then and we'll get yeah. Go ahead, make the motion.
I make the motion to modernizing the telehealth prescribing so that the prescriber does not need to be resident in the state of Hawaii when they are prescribing, like physically present in the state of Hawaii.
I'm sorry, Chair. This is Deputy Attorney General Aaron Law. Was this on the agenda?
It's under open discussion of other possible legislative priorities.
Okay, I see. You know, there you do run the risk of whether that was overly ambiguous as to whether it informs the public on what you would be voting on. But you can proceed, you know, you guys can make that decision.
Okay. Seconded by Shonda. We will add this just to cover our bases, since nothing's the legislative session doesn't start till January. We can reconfirm this decision and we'll add it to next month's agenda. But I do want to have these discussions. So we'll just reconfirm this vote. However this vote turns out, if we choose to, we'll reconfirm it next month is on next month's agenda. How's that, Aaron?
Sorry, so you're saying that you're just going to vote on it, and then at the next month's agenda, you're going to put it back on the agenda and vote on it again?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's a safe plan, I think.
Okay. And that will be for anything that's brought up at this point. We'll just so everybody's aware. Anything else that's brought up. Well, that will be the plan. Cover our butts, but to also help move things along. So the motion before us is to about prescribing medications for telehealth.
Telehealth laws.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
facilitate improved access to gender hormones.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Or is it just for gender affirming hormones or just
Hormones, let's say hormones. Yeah, because I actually had a hard time getting my own hormones because my telehealth provider wasn't in the state and I'm not even on testosterone.
Well, we can discuss this, but Hawaii is the only state that requires the prescriber to be in state. So it could be something broader, but we are outside of the standard of care that we require this.
Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody understands what the thing, and then we'll have better language. We'll have the concrete language in front of everybody next month. So we just, and the only reason I want to move forward with this because we'll cover that in the next section of what needs to happen to make all these things a reality. Please, you're gonna have some homework. So anyways, but I'm always here as a resource. So any other discussion on this motion before us? Okay, I support this motion. I just want to let you know the reason it died is that there was concerns that what will probably be added to the bill is that the telehealth providers will need to accept some type of insurance. That has been one of the people that was pushing for this didn't take any kind of insurance. And so if we're talking about access, we're talking about access, we need to make sure they take health insurance. is one of the reasons that is the conversations I had with the legislature. And that's one of the reasons we had to have it removed from one of the bills. And one of the reasons it died is because it looked like a money grab to some of the legislators that, yeah, if it's only for those that the wealthy, then why do it? They don't actually need it. They can just jump on a plane and go over or do whatever. If we're talking about access for, especially for our neighbor island communities, just so everybody's well aware of what this is. And so that's going to be, that maybe we may not put that into the bill, but that's something that we have to be open to when it comes to the negotiations. Because making laws is all about negotiating and compromising when you can. If you can't, there's some things you just can't compromise. So anyways, just so everybody's well aware of that. So that is one of the reasons that it has died, is that when an advocate outside of us said, if you had that, you might well just not pass it, then the legislator said, fine, I'll kill it. And they did. And so that's why we have to have the conversations and we have to have the relationship with the legislators, making sure that, well, no one person speaks for this community, that one person should not have been able to kill that bill just because they were there.
Yes, I agree that that one person advocating that totally was a money grab. And I believe that since then, and I was a little skeptical at the time, a little undecided. However, given the changes now, there is a huge area of opportunity for people that are cash pay only accepting, because they are immune to certain pressures that the rest of us are stuck with. So while I 100% support access and actual access for people that really need it, I also 100% support the opportunity for providers who are free from pressure that would otherwise have a hard time doing things because they accept insurance. If I accept insurance, I have to follow certain rules, or I can no longer get that insurance money. So some people who don't accept insurance are therefore free to provide better services to our community. So I think the next people's change is just a smidge, and opening that up would have its own benefit. And hopefully it doesn't open the door for a bunch of money grabbers.
And that's a conversation that definitely needs to be had with the legislators.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not gonna. Thanks. So, any public testimony on the motion before this body? Seeing no public testimony, any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. This will be back on the agenda again for next month. I do want to put something about we have, as you see in the board packet, we are our suicide rate this year alone is for youth suicides is astronomical. And so all the suicide prevention thingies out there, we need to, what we're missing, and unfortunately have been missing since the 24-hour crisis hotline for youth, or one, especially one that can target, but support our community. So I am open to a motion on making that a priority, if somebody would like to make that. In regards to youth.
I was looking, yeah.
Okay, Shonda's gonna make the motion, seconded by Chrissy. I will fine tune that for next month about what exact language that looks like, but addressing the crisis we are in when it comes to youth suicide, figuring out what that looks like. So discussion. Seeing, yes, Joe?
I just have a question. Is there one island where there's more teenage.
That was not, right now, all I have numbers are for Oahu. I don't know, and unfortunately, again, this goes back to lack of information, especially, and it gets worse as we hit to the, Kauai, Maui, and Hawaii counties. And resources as well.
Where access to mental health services is challenging for everyone, especially our queer youth.
What does that, do you want to revisit making that a priority? No?
I'm not sure about that particular strategy.
Well. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Any public discussion, any public testimony on that? Seeing none, any opposition? Any abstentions? I am gonna make the motion at this time to go back to, and ensuring that the Mahu, that we do have access to mental health care, given the health crisis we are facing. That we just saw with that, so I am gonna make that a motion. And this is not tie us to any one thing. As you see, those were examples, IG, are those different ways of getting there, so, because, I took this priority and used it very broadly when testifying in other bills that provide access to mental health care. And making sure that, this last legislative session. So can I get a second to that? Second. Thank you, Chrissy. Discussion.
Obviously, I 100% value mental health and want us to do everything possible to improve access to mental health services for everyone throughout the state. My only concern had been, I have never seen licensing requirements improve anything. Workplace DEI education rarely changes anybody's mind, that kind of thing. So I would hope that this would be something other than that, and I totally support that.
Further discussion.
Hi, commissioners. I'm just making sure I'm keeping track of this discussion. We're only discussing about whether to reopen the agenda item regarding the mental health
Yes.
legislative priority, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
So a motion to reopen that is the motion before this. Okay.
I mean, I support clearly, also mental health awareness for, LGBTQ populations as well. I just, again, it was a little bit vague, and so I wasn't quite sure, generally what I was supporting. But, there are specific things, like I work with LGBTQ folks who have eating disorders, and presentations of eating disorders are very different for different populations. And so, we actually, the nonprofit I work for, put together specialized training. I don't know that I would require people to do it, but there certainly is an opportunity out there to educate people more.
Okay, just so we're clear, given what Aaron just said, but this is just to open back up item number 4. So motion and seconded. So we're gonna go, any public testimony on opening up this agenda item again that we've already passed. And so public testimony on reopening item number 4. Seeing none, any opposition to reopening number 4? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, so the motion now is ensuring that Mahu, LGBTQIA, QPI, and the PFF communities have access to mental health care on all islands. I'm making that motion to make it a priority. Chrissy, does your second still hold for this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The things you have listed there are the different avenues, like I said earlier, that they're, and I use this priority, like I said, this last legislative session, as an avenue when other things that would gain access to mental health. One of the one of the reasons that this was brought up, and I've had conversations with the University of Hawaii School of Social Work, that they support adding at least a module to that, is that providing that so those mental health professionals that come out of their system have a universal understanding of the gender spectrum and sexual orientation spectrum. That there's not requiring them to become experts, but if we are sending out medical professionals, that mental health professionals that don't even have a basic understanding, we are doing a disservice to the entire community as a whole. This is, they've done it with for access and understanding other communities. And I think this is another opportunity for us to again reach out to the Hawaiian community as well as the immigrant community when it comes to cultural understandings for mental health professions in the state of Hawaii. So, because if you're going to be licensed in the state of Hawaii and you don't have at least a cursory understanding of Hawaiian culture, then you shouldn't be putting up a shingle here in the state of Hawaii. You do it, just my personal perspective on that. So that, and I know that that's been that something that we can reach out within to the Hawaiian community already. That's something they've tried before. That we did have before the commission. I did work with Loose Alliance on that. So, yeah. Further discussion on this motion.
I think if we take out that IE, take out all after that.
Those are just examples of what it will be, and it's not part of the motion.
I get that, but having that there, I mean, it doesn't necessarily limit us, but it creates a direction that I don't think is helpful. I do agree with graduation requirements. I don't agree with licensing requirements, relicensing, education. And I think if we take that part out and just leave it, improving access to mental health in the state.
But that wasn't, the IG was not part of the motion.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
That's not what I stated in the motion. Okay. Yeah, but I do just want you to know that educators from the mental health professionals do support making it from the University of Hawaii.
And I support it.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to relicensing, because you have to, if you keep up to date on current, and for lack of a better term, trends and things, then that's part of it. So they do support the relicensing when it comes to mental health.
Okay, talk to educators that don't.
Okay.
So that you can go all the way around there.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, the motion before us is ensuring access for our community for having access to mental health care on all islands. Further discussion. Okay, public testimony. Seeing none, any opposition to the motion? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, let's see. Given the time, we'll have, if there anybody else has, anybody from the commission, anybody from the public, if there are other legislative things that you want to put on our radar, please get it to us. We will be revisiting this again in September. This is August. Okay, then we will the two ones that we voted on today that were not on the agenda will be added to for reconfirmation. The reason I did want to do that is that now we're coming to number 10. The appointment for leads for each of the priorities. So I did an appointment, so I'm looking for volunteers for expanding. Just so before we move forward, that for everything that we did up to number 6, there is a vehicle somewhere in the last 2 years for those. And a vehicle, I'm talking about a draft bill that's already out there, that so you don't have to go out and draft a bill or get a bill drafted, or find someone to help you write a bill. So, if you are a lead, just a refresher that's in the policy is that you would find a vehicle. Also work with the legislators to help us find the introducers. For this, we do want to see the bills that be introduced in both chambers. But yeah, so, and again, you are not going to be just left out there to vote on your own. I'm always here as a resource. Everybody should have everybody does have my number. I will point you in the right direction, if you choose to be a lead. So I'm looking for a volunteer for expanding gender markers on birth certificates. I will take that then. Okay, I'm looking for a volunteer for comprehensive count of hate crimes. Okay. I will hold on to that one as well, I guess, for now. Expanding the commission.
I can work on that one.
Okay. I will. Okay.
I'll help you with the
Uh,
hate crimes one too. There's a few things I need to talk to you about that I found out last year.
Okay. Okay. Mental health. I will take that one. Okay, banning forced gender mutilation surgeries for sex offenders. Anybody want to be the lead on that? Okay. Establishing an education requirement. Is there?
I can do 6 and 7.
6 and 7, okay. Chrissy will take 6 and 7. Thank you, Chrissy. And then I saw Sylvia in the chat. She's going to take the telehealth, modernizing telehealth bill. The resolution. I will hold on to that because I wrote it this last year. We'll just reintroduce the same one this year. And we'll so okay, just a reminder. Yep. So there, if you go to I can get, if you need the bills, I'll draft the bills, let me know if you are the lead. So as we move forward, making sure that we find vehicles, since elections have already been happening, we already know some things are going to be the same, who's are going to be back next year. So those are people you can start reaching out to start finding us advocates and supporters for your different areas. Public testimony and everything we just covered. Okay, seeing none, moving on forward. D, Commission's position on City and County of Honolulu's Charter Amendment, question number 4, to create a City and County of Honolulu LGBTQI plus commission. I'm going to make the motion that we support that, since that was something that we've been advocating for, that we, can I get a second?
But don't
A
we already
second.
have-
Yeah, now it's going to the ballot. So this is for the ballot measure, since just so everybody knows, as you see in the board packet, you can now see what the question looks like. For this is what we're saying yes to. We talked about it in generality. Now we actually have the specific, what the question is, what the present situation, and And so that this would create a 9-person board. 4 of them are appointed by the mayor, 4 appointed by the city council, and then the 9th member being appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. And the staggering terms are 4, 3, 2, 4 members at 4 years, 4 members at 3 years, and 1 member at 2 years. And that the 2-year member for the first time is the one that gets appointed by the mayor, and then 2 and 2 on the other ones. So that just so everybody knows what that is. So yeah, so it's gonna be charter amendment question number 4. It passed out with unanimous support. And so yeah, so the motion by me, seconded by Shonda, is that we will support charter amendment question number 4 on the ballot for this general election. Discussion. Okay. Anything? Okay. Public testimony. Seeing none, noticing that Sylvia has stepped away. Any opposition to the motion before us? Any abstentions? With the exception of Sylvia, passes unanimous. Thank you. Moving forward. Pride events. Let's see. Pride events. Upcoming events. Just so everybody knows that so we've discussed Kona, and it's little times are just gonna go. I'm opening motion to authorize a booth at Honolulu Pride. Seeing and hearing no motion, that public testimony. Seeing no public testimony, moving right along. I have next up is vote for organizer for the Honolulu Parade Unit, Honolulu Pride Parade Unit. Does anybody want to volunteer to lead that effort?
What is this supposed to be, Michael?
Leading, who's going to take the lead on preparing and making sure everything's ready for the Pride Parade Unit in Honolulu?
So will this entail things like renting a convertible, making sure people are there, picking people up at the airport, stuff like that?
Making sure that not requiring anybody to do any one of those things, but making sure all that happens, and then having next month having if we need to order anything, if there's any how much money to expend on that effort, having a budget ready for us next month, so we're ready for Honolulu Pride Parade. So who wants to do that? Or we just don't have a unit and we don't fly anybody and nobody comes. That is the option before this body right now. If nobody's willing to step up and do that, because I cannot, since I'm going to be one of the grand marshals in this year, I cannot oversee.
I'll do it.
Sandy's gonna be the lead. Okay. Okay, Sandy has nominated herself. I will second that nomination. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, public testimony. Seeing no public testimony, with any opposition to the motion of Sandy being the lead for the Honolulu Pride Parade. Okay, seeing no opposition, seeing any abstentions. No abstentions with the so Philip's not just so okay. The vote is unanimous with the exception of Sylvia, who has stepped away. For that, Sandy will be in the lead. Sandy, when you have time, if you have any questions, give me a call. And we
Okay.
can talk things out offline. And then we just, so we have everything, and especially everything ready to put on the agenda for September. Anything needs to be put on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Just so everybody knows that Philip will not be joining us as he's putting together a large scale musical production on Kauai. And so he will not be able to attend Pride on the Wall. But Joe, you're still coming, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then hopefully we'll see if we have a commissioner from Hawaii County. Any other public testimony on Pride events? Okay. Moving right along. There's discussion on establishing a 2026 campaign to encourage voter registration and voting in the general election for, do I have a motion for us to create such a campaign? So moved by, second by Chrissy. As we sit here today, there are three elections. One is being by one vote, the person's in the lead, and another election, seven vote lead, and a third thing, 33 by 33 votes. So when people say my one vote doesn't matter, you don't know if that one vote's going to be that one vote that gets that person elected. I do want to, we are actually 3% higher than we did a voter turnout in last year for city and county of Honolulu. When I ran the numbers this morning. So we did see an uptick, which is very good because last election period was a presidential year and we historically see a dip, but we're still at 38%. In 2020, we were at much higher. We had I forget what the numbers are. So, yeah, we need to do more. And this, by us taking the lead on this, I'll reach out to other nonprofits. Randy, did you want to say, because I've already talked to Randy about joining this effort with Legacy Foundation. Do you want to say anything really briefly as we move into this? Sorry, there you go. Hold on.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the election and just improving our voter turnouts can be super important, especially in the upcoming elections. I did have a preliminary conversation with Michael, and I definitely think that based on the resources that we have with our team at Legacy Foundation, we'll be happy to support. So when you guys are ready to move this forward, just let us know in what capacity. I definitely think from our end, the best way that we can support is through marketing and visibility. So as we craft out what your needs are, just let us know.
Thank you. And just like, since they're a nonprofit, we're taxpayer funded. All we're doing is voter registration and get out the vote. We do not support candidates. That we would be shut down so quick if we did that. Just so everybody understands, and that also jeopardizes their 501c3 status. But encouraging people to vote and educating on how to vote is everybody's kuleana, and it's everybody can do it, no matter. So the motion before us is to establish a campaign to encourage our community to vote in the general election. Any further discussion?
I'm all for this. You know, I mean, I know that we've increased our voter participation. It's to use an educational analogy. It's like, it's great that we went from proficiency in a subject from 33 to 38, but we still have a ways to go. And I think that that's really important to give everybody the best opportunity to that this is their agency, and anything to do with that. So, just my comment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, public testimony. Okay, seeing none. Any opposition to the motion as stated? Seeing none. Any abstentions? Okay, with the noticing of the absence of Sylvia, passes unanimously. Okay. Here we go. G. Conducting outreach to Mahu LGBTQ and Cutie Pie community members who are willing to share their experiences, encouraging barriers to obtaining gender affirming care, including surgeries. Okay, up what number one? This is you, Shaka.
Yeah, so this is, again, I did not notice that the agenda was out of order on this. I had to move the other one first, so, I'm prepared for this. So my goal is to reach out to the insurance commissioner and collaborate, maybe encourage them to do educational trainings, so people in our fine state know what their rights are related to insurance and how they can submit complaints. Maybe they're gonna make a video of what folks' options are, and just opening up channels with advocating with the insurance commissioner, and maybe finding a community partner that would allow us to collaborate with folks, because there appears to be a pattern of insurance companies not following their own rules when it comes to gender affirming surgery in particular. So I'm wanting the commission to authorize us to advocate in this fashion.
So, okay, so the first one is on the insurance commissioner to draft the training. You want to, so the motion is setting it for the commission, for us to send a official letter requesting that training. Is that my understanding? Okay, can I have a second to that motion? I will second that. Oh, go ahead. Oh, no, if you want to, go ahead. Okay, so Chrissy seconds that motion. Noticing for the minutes at 4:07, we lost Philip. So any further discussion on requesting that than what you already see before you in the motion? Okay. See no further discussion, public testimony. Seeing no public testimony, any opposition to the motion as stated? Any abstentions? Seeing no opposition, seeing no abstention, motion passes. So Shonda, if you want to draft that letter and shoot it over to me, and we'll get that to them. Okay, finding a community, I guess it should say community partners, because unless anybody knows somebody who, finding community partners with health insurance, HIPAA protections to gather the experiences. Go right ahead, Shonda.
So I don't feel like this is as fleshed out as I would like it to be, so can I defer this to next month?
Okay. We're deferring two till next month. Public testimony. Reach out to Heather at HVRC. She and I had a side conversation about this earlier. Okay. Okay, opening discussion on other needed steps. Besides doing the training and finding a community partner that can actually do the pull in that sensitive information, because again, since we are a sunshine body,
I would say that H is exactly other needed steps.
okay. Okay, just so everybody understands from here, we just lost quorum. We can have discussion on this stuff, but we cannot take any further actions for this meeting. Unfortunately. So. So you say, okay, so any further public testimony on this? Okay.
We should probably wrap up.
Okay, well, you don't want to have any discussion on, so people understand what, oh.
Yeah. But our,
Because we're recording it and this could be used, I don't know. I guess I should have added that to my other expectation. If you miss a meeting, my expectation is that you do watch the last meeting, so you are, as a commissioner, you're ready to go. So, so just, because, yeah.
okay, well, for that then, I was hoping to get to the big question, which is what I was trying to rush with a community partner. So, I will back up and provide more information on that. So the background of this that I put in the board doc packet is, like I said, people are experiencing denials that are possibly not in alignment with law or the insurance company's own policies. And so trying to find people who are willing to come forward with stories of challenges they've had with, specifically with gender affirming care surgeries, so that in advocating with the insurance companies or any other avenue to improve access to folks, to improve adherence by the insurers in our state to state law and insurance guidelines. The more people we have, the better our voice is, and the more chance we have to make a real impact on people that are policy makers and implementers. And while folks can certainly talk to me, I'm happy to hear your story. If you submit any written information to the commission that is discoverable by Sunshine Law, and not everybody wants to share their personal, probably should not be sharing their personal medical information in that way. You're welcome to do what you like on the internet. However, I don't encourage people to do that for this purpose. So we're trying to find somebody that does have the ability to gather information in your house, if you will, even if it's only a few people that would be useful, and then they can de-identify that information and give it to us for advocacy purposes. That was clear at all, but that's the goal.
So that
is a little further information on number 2, and then I am eager to hear anybody else's ideas on what else we can to advocate in this way, aside from talking with insurers, the insurance commissioner, if they have the group.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think we do need to follow up with Scott. Because I asked for what kind of, how drilled down does the information go, and I have not heard back. And I haven't seen anything come through the email either. So I follow up with Scott on seeing how detailed information, besides the do they keep when they track a complaint? Is it just the name of the insurer? Do they without, we don't need the names, of course, but name of the insurer and what was denied. It's kind of thing I think that we need.
Yeah.
The data. Do they collect that? If not, why not? Because we're not asking them to tie it to any one person. We just want to know tick here, tick there. I think that's all we're. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it sounds like they don't collect that at all. Data is interesting. There's lots of data out there, but you don't know anything until you ask a specific question. So we can ask them to ask that question and look at it.
Okay. All right. Given that, so given the time, and given the fact that we don't have quorum, it's the chair's inclination that we are going to table everything else on this agenda until next month. I can't take a vote on anything, right, Aaron? So I'm just gonna move along on the agenda since we can't take any votes. Any other announcements people have? Wait, hold on. Oh,
Correct. You can't take a vote. You should close your meeting.
Now we can.
all right,
Just Dr. Brown came back.
I got, well, okay, so since we can't take votes, but, okay, just so we're all clear that I could do announcements because announcements don't require votes on it. Right?
But we're quorum now.
We're quorum now. Okay, so picking back up where we were talking about G2. Funding and community partner. So this would authorize us to research, to find out, look for community partners. Is there a motion to find the community partners to gather this information?
Yes.
Moved by Shonda. Can I get a second? Seconded by Chrissy. Oh, sorry, Joe. Is that okay, Chrissy? Joe can have it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so moved and seconded. Any further discussion on finding community partners that have HIPAA protection to be able to gather this data about insurance denials for gender affirming care, including surgery? Seeing no further discussion, public testimony. Seeing no public testimony, any opposition to the motion as stated? Seeing no opposition, seeing abstentions, going once, going twice. None, so motion passes as stated. Okay, moving on to H. Discussion on authorizing the commission to act regarding improving access to gender affirming care. Alternatives are: 1, create a PIG, permitted interaction group named Healthcare PIG. Number 2, create a committee, or 3 other options. The proposed goals of this entity are stated as in the agenda. Is there a motion to drop before this body?
Yes. I move that we create a PIG, although can we discuss before we make that motion, or do we have to make a motion before we can discuss?
You can go ahead and discuss if you don't, if you're not ready to make the motion, go ahead.
Well, if people like the PIG idea, I think that makes the most sense. The idea is having a permitted interaction group, which would be a few of us, which would have to be 4 or less of us, to advocate on behalf of gender affirming care. And some specific things that I would definitely want to include, although we can add more, is advocating with insurers to improve access to hair removal services. I put a whole bunch of this in the board packet, specifically related to surgery. Insurance companies do cover hair removal prior to gender affirming surgery. It's medically necessary to remove the hair that you're going to use to create new genitals. And insurance companies already have in their rules that they will cover it. However, they don't actually do it. They don't have any providers that they're contracted with. Thus, this is a barrier for people, and they either have to be out of pocket or there's all these hoops. It's a nightmare. So advocating for this as a commission with other people in the community to ensure that the insurers in our state are following their own policies is one of the things that I would want to do. Advocate with insurers to revise their coverage denial practice. We have a law in the state that requires, if an insurance company is going to deny a gender affirming care surgery, that denial or the denial of the appeal must be considered by someone with expertise in gender affirming care, and that's not actually happening, apparently. I would look more into it to have certainty, which is part of why we want humans to tell us their stories. And advocate with medical organizations to increase access to specific procedures. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some examples of some things that we would do. A PIG allows us to meet in between meetings and then bring our findings back to the larger commission if anything needs to be decided or voted on, but also allows us to have the blessing of the commission in these advocacies.
And conversely, if we were to do a committee, we're required to sunshine it, doing all the, you have to go through everything we do for a regular meeting. And the committee could have beyond 4 members because you're sunshining it. And although with the understanding that the committee would again be making a recommendation back to the commission, the committee, neither PIG nor the committee would have the authority to act on behalf of the commission. It's a vote of the commission to be able to make policy, spend funds, make a stance, just so everybody understands the differences between.
Well, I just want to, yeah, the differences between the committee and the PIG. I just want to further clarify that, you know, if you do go the PIG route, you really need to be clear about what the authority the members will have in exercising these duties. I mean, it sounds like you're trying to create the first PIG as opposed to a PIG that would do research, come back, and then make a recommendation to the board or to the commission. Is that correct?
Yes, this is specifically, what did I come up with? It is what's it called? An advocacy PIG, which allows us to basically talk to the insurers. That's all we're gonna be doing.
Okay, yeah. Just make sure that whatever route you go, just be clear about the boundaries and the expectations.
Okay. So the boundaries and expectations right now, we will put these 3 topics. So that is what we're gonna discuss. We can add more to it in future,
Okay, I'm making it.
or make a new PIG, or remove things.
And so, yeah,
And the difference that I believe between having a PIG and me just doing what I have been doing is that more than one of us can participate. And other members of the community would be welcome to join our little collaboration.
Correct. The PIG can include people who are not members of the commission.
So, okay,
So I'd like to make a motion, unless anybody has a difference of opinion, I'd like to make a motion that we create this PIG. As delineated in the board packet, I think. It's made it more specifically, or is it specific for the document?
Well, you would decide like how many members or how many non-members, etc. Go ahead. I think Michael has ideas.
well, no, I don't have any ideas. I just, how many, so, with no more than 4, so the motion is to create a PIG with no more than 4 members. With you taking the lead. And then for the commissioners that are present, if this moves forward, who present would like to be a member of that thing? So we can put that into the motion. You can have a PIG of 1. That is altogether possible. Sylvia, you want to be a member of the PIG?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so Shonda and Sylvia as members of the PIG for this time. We can expand the PIG at the next meeting, with the understanding that, and so, yeah, so, so the PIG would then be as outlined in the agenda or the board packet?
And how often is the PIG going to be reporting back to the commission?
We don't have to report. Yeah, but we'll report.
Okay, so with those three priorities there in the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, so
I will say as in the agenda.
as in the agenda, as laid out in the agenda, the motion is to create the motion before us is to create a healthcare pig with Shada as the lead, Sylvia as a member. And the proposed goals for this pig is as outlined in 1, 2, 3 of H on your agenda. That's the motion made by Shonda and seconded by Chrissy. Okay. Further discussion. Public testimony. Opposition to the motion as stated. Seeing no opposition, abstention. Seeing no abstentions, motion passes. Given the time, we are moving on to announcements. August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day. You have other announcements in the board packet. The choir is always looking, the Rainbow Choir is always looking for voices. What's in the board packet? And remember to submit your events to the Legacy Foundation online calendar. Anything else in the next 4 minutes? Any other announcements? Going once. And yeah, and just a reminder for the commissioners that are here or the ex officios, if there's anything you have for announcements that needs more time than 30 seconds, please add something to the board packet. Reminder, our next meeting is set for September 14th. Right here, same time, same back channel. On that motion, I have a motion to adjourn. Motion. I have a second. Discussion. Seeing none, public testimony. Hearing none, any opposition? Seeing none, any abstentions? Seeing none, noting the absence of Sandy and Philip, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Hope this was productive for everybody. I'll see you next month.
And for your priorities, that is